For the latest film interviews, reviews, and everything making news in pop culture, subscribe to Film Companion now.
The interest in the Lonavala question was slightly baffling.
It's quite voyeuristic.
So I was like, I was thinking, think of Delhi, think of the bomb, think of Zoya, think of Shrikant and what's happening, and where did Sajid run off to? All those questions were our top 5 questions. They were like, nahi, Lonavala mein kya hua?
It's like who killed Kattappa?
Exactly. The last few years, the last 2 years or so, I have made a conscious decision to not sign anything unless I know that 2 to 3 days before shoot I'm going to not be able to sleep. I should have sleepless nights. I should be so scared if I'm going to be able to pull this off or not. And at this point of time, such a character, I knew that not just 3 nights, I'm not going to be sleeping for a while.
So folks, this is my first in-person interview in 10 months. And I'm thrilled. I am thrilled. It is with Team Family Man. I am such a big fan of the show. But can I just begin by giving you all a little grief? To leave us hanging like that for, I mean, what were you thinking? That light in your room, which went on when you were in that hotel room, haunted me more than the damn gas. Okay?
Every time I post anything on my social media, the first question what people ask me is, आपके और अरविंद के बीच में लोनावला में क्या हुआ था? क्या हुआ था? अरे यार, season 2. Wait for season 2. पता चलेगा.
No, because we're too emotionally invested in this, and just to leave us hanging. So I have to begin with the two of you. When you deliver a blockbuster like that, what is your biggest concern when you start to tell that story? You pick up the threads again.
So we were lucky enough that we had already finished our Bible and story, and we started shooting the second season even before season 1 released. So there was no pressure in trying to match up, rewrite, or like enhance the things that work. So thank God for that, because you just stayed true to the concept of the first season. So that way the pressure was automatically avoided in how
But
to
you
write
changed
it.
nothing, right?
We might have tweaked a bit, not more than that. More like we were shocked at a couple of especially the Lonavala question, that I thought, it's okay, it's a story, it's her story, but the interest in the Lonavala question was slightly baffling.
It's quite voyeuristic.
So I was like, I was thinking, think of Delhi, think of the bomb, think of Zoya, think of Shrikant and what's happening, and where did Sajid run off to? All those questions were our top 5 questions. They were like, nahi, Lonavala mein kya hua?
It's like who killed Kattappa?
Exactly.
There was some article that said after Kattappa.
And this is the next question.
is this. So we kind of, if you see season 2, I'm sure after seeing season 2, at least 50% of the people are going to have a smile on their faces, our reaction to that question. So things like that were considered, but not necessarily.
We didn't wait for the results of season 1 to start writing season 2. We already had it ready. Yes, a few tweaks here and there when we realized, there's so much expectation or so much interest on certain things, and we also feel that this deserves to be addressed. And it's not always a question. It's also sometimes we see a certain thing that's working out or playing out well, and we said, we need more of that here.
Manoj, you of course did such a stellar job playing this guy.
Thank you.
You made him such a human hero. But now in season 2, tell me, what did you discover about this character? How did you kind of enlarge him as he goes through these new life changes?
Yes, you said it very rightly. So it's second season, this is what changes. Shrikant Tiwari giving a lot of importance to his family life and really doing something that he would otherwise not do, okay? And he himself doesn't know whether he's taken the right decision or not. His mind is there in that outfit or that sphere is something that people will get to see. Does he manage to come back? Does he manage to stay back? Does he manage to find out what exactly his wife is having in her mind? Does he manage to really answer all those questions of the growing up kids? Is something that people can always look forward to in this second season. But also, Anu, it has given me a great arc You know, from season 1 to season 2, his life is moving. It's not about jumping from, say, 5 years henceforth. No, it's where you left Shrikant Tiwari and where you are picking up is something that has a natural graph to it.
Yeah.
Okay, eventually he's a family person. He's a family person. He's caught up in a conflict in season 1 because he's he has his concern for the family, and definitely he's superlative in his job. But he doesn't want his family to go away from him. But can he save his family? Is he sacrificing enough to put his family together? So all of these questions are going to be answered in season 2. But also as an actor, I would say that it has given a great opportunity to really make the graph, and take Shrikant into a different territory, and is still keeping the same Shrikant, trying to who is struggling to get his own self back all the time. So that's an interesting sphere that I got to work in.
Okay, let's talk about the women. You and him have these really nice scenes. I've just seen the first 2 episodes, and I feel like the fraying of the marriage is very real. It's the small hurts, it's the little slides. How do you figure out the rhythms of those scenes as actors?
I think we just, once we come onto the set, we just go through it. And there were times when I did tell Raj sir and DK sir, both of them, that this is so realistic that, I would probably say the same thing to my husband. I mean, probably we would fight the same way. I mean, and in fact, my husband also said the same thing. I mean, after he saw season 1, and when he saw the fight sequence between Shrikant and Suchi, he said, this is so you and me. This is how you and me we fight. This is how we do it. So I sort of maybe imbibe on what I can bring out from, real life. Not the fight portion, but that was just a joke. But, certain nuances, certain, what can I say, certain phrases maybe. So we rehearse a lot about, we go through the scene about maybe once or twice maximum. And so we just go about it, because I think right about now I'm used to how Manoj sir is. I'm still not 100% used to the way he is on set, but I can sort of pick up on what he sort of would probably say, Shrikant Tiwari would probably say. So I play on that. So he probably play on how I would react. I would play on how he would react and things like that. So I think it always helps to have a fabulous actor like Manoj sir when you're working with such scenes. So it's just very natural.
It flows.
It just flows.
In short, they're very brilliant actors.
Yeah.
So they just look at the scene and say, "Chalo karte hain."
Especially in these scenes, even in season 1, like there is a long banterish fight sequence that they have. And in season 2 also there is another scene which is a long, like a argument getting worse and worse kind of a thing. It's, when these scenes come, I think like instinctively we don't try to dictate what happens. We just let them play it out, and we cover it as much as we can and let the scene play out. That's been our trick for those scenes.
May I just butt in, since you're talking to women here? I also feel that it's so important. I also remember my time when I used to be a bachelor, okay, and now I'm a married guy with a daughter. So each and every person, not necessarily they will get those nuances when they are not married. There's so many things are going on. Between both the entities, coming from definitely different cultures and different places. Child of different parents. So many things happen over the years between two couples. To get those nuances, I don't think I would have been able to do the same thing had I been a bachelor, some say 20 years back or 16 years back. No. I mean, you get those minute, very small, detailing only because you know it. Degrees may change. Degrees may vary between married couples, but the essence is going to be the same. Okay, so I think it's also how minutely you observed yourself, your own life.
Yeah.
It always comes to that. Yeah.
And Samantha, you are the new entry in season 2, and I'm so intrigued by your character. First of all, can I just say I love the name of your talk show, Sam Jam. It's just fab. It's just fab. But tell me, what about her really intrigued you? And I saw the early action sequence, which is very kick-ass, and I'm sure was a lot of fun. But what about this woman really got you to say yes to this?
When the director calls me to narrate a script to me, I can almost always judge what I'm going to be offered. But this came as a complete surprise. And the last few years, the last 2 years or so, I have made a conscious decision to not sign anything unless I know that 2 to 3 days before shoot, I'm going to not be able to sleep. I should have sleepless nights. I should be so scared if I'm going to be able to pull this off or not. And at this point of time, such a character, I knew that not just 3 nights, I'm not going to be sleeping for a while, because especially when it's loosely inspired from real events, and it was the challenge that I was looking for. And I hope I did justice to it.
So did you find that you had to prep differently for this one, or what was the specific challenge?
Yes, it definitely was not something that I could just go to shoot unprepared for. I did do a lot of homework. I watched as much online as I could get on the matter, and I was also offered real life footage that I took too seriously and delved too deep into. I would argue with people who had a different point of view on the situation, and that's completely unlike myself. Like, I remember after a particular scene, like as soon as the director says cut, I snap out of it and I'm like completely normal and joking around. But there was this one scene.
She went to some kind of dark zone. Suman, who wrote with us and found this really nice documentary that she said she should watch, and I started watching it. I said, this is disturbing, so be careful. And then later we realized she shut herself for 3 days and watched it over and over. So now we are like, oh my God. She said, like, I'm in dark zone right now. So like, oh my God, what did you do? She said, I can't get over these images. So I said, okay, then second day of shooting, it was an intense sequence. She finished it. We were sitting outside. That's the last shot of that sequence. She came and sat down and, watching this shot. As she said, it's good. I said, we got it. It's great, done. And she started crying. And so
she basically broke
she's
down after 2-3 days of this bottled up intensity.
Then she ran off into the van, and then half hour later she comes up and says, oh, what's going on, guys? She's like, doing herself.
No, that's pretty impressive though. Like how much she just got into that character. Like I think he was living, breathing, eating, sleeping that character. I think. Until
it took a toll on her. Like, we could really visually see it, but I think the performance came out brilliantly. So we were just grinning. DK and I were looking at each other like, this is awesome.
Not openly.
Silently.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about this casting. I think it's amazing how you mix actors from across the country, how you mix very well-known faces with not so well-known faces who are very good, like Musa in season 1 was just so brilliant. How do you guys do this? How do you decide who's the right person?
See, it started in Shore in the City, where we realized...
One of my favorite films.
Thank you. Where we realized that it was out of necessity. Like now we are going only for actors. So we're asking people, do you know any good actors? Do you know anybody out of FTII? We realized that the potential that the actors have and versus what we are seeing on screen, they're the same faces or same set of people that you're watching. So this is the great actors, beautiful stuff. We just didn't know so many more that are around that don't get a place in a film because of various constraints, because of budgets, because of they need different kind of actors to do different kind of roles. So that's when we saw the freedom of picking people that would fit the role better than a guy and then fitting him into a role, right? So now we rediscovered with great enthusiasm when we make an OTT series, we realize, it's just not Hindi. I can go across India. It's like there's a whole India is for takes, and if we have a series that can support actors, like Samantha is speaking Tamil for most of the thing, and Neeraj Madhav was speaking Malayalam, and then we just kept them the way they were. So, now you're tapping
We even
into...
casted actors from Kashmir. I mean, how happy were they?
Yeah.
To be in a mainstream?
Yeah, so I think that excitement of mixing up with stalwarts like and everybody else. So you have a great mix of people, and then picking, and I really hoping and picking someone like Samantha, who's not known for this kind of roles, and hoping she would accept, and superbly excited that she jumped on it. He jumped on it in a phone
She said yes
call.
immediately.
In a phone call. It was like a very simple that I told DK, man, the conviction in her and the enthusiasm with which she's saying the yes to this, all the requirements we have
It's a
for the
little
role.
scary.
Huh? It is?
It's a little scary, I thought.
Yeah. It's like, really, does she know the story? Let her send her the scenes first.
Oh yeah, I remember you called me once much later and explained a particular scene to me and said, "You're okay with this?"
You're okay with these kind of scenes, and so she's like yes to everything, and it wasn't just saying it, she could see the conviction. See, I also believe that many actors are capable of many things. It's just that you put them in a good character, and I think 90% of them are up for challenge. So that's the beauty of actors. And then you have like Sachin Tendulkar in the team,
That is right. I agree.
who's like semi-directing with us, with the kids, and telling them what to do. When ये बोलता हूँ ना तू ये बोल.
Yeah.
यहाँ पे मुझे cut कर. So
Yeah. They're quietly working on the sideline.
I have to end with a question that has nothing to do with Family Man, but it's also one of my favorite topics, Shah Rukh Khan. What is happening with that film?
This is the time for the plane to go back.
Good one.
Good answer.
yeah.
Kuch to do yaar.
No, I'm saying it's really, we're consumed by the Family Man right now, and we have a super exciting series that's not as good as the Family Man, but not too bad.
Note
Oh,
kiya
come
jaya.
on.
I'm
Don't
kidding.
say that.
No, we have another one. So really, minds are consumed by finishing this, waiting for the release, and going for.
You know, the thing is, they shoot with me in Mira Road, and they are shooting their next series in Goa. How unfair that can be.
COVID.
COVID, Manoj, COVID.
It's not COVID. I'm shooting so many things here.
They just don't treat you well, Manoj.
No, they've never, I mean, no director. They shoot with me in Mira Road, Bhayandar. Wow.
You already said you're James Bond from Chembur. You have to stick around Chembur, no?
That's right. Well, cannot wait to see the rest of it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Arun.
much.
Thank you.